Most people think a cat that doesn't greet you at the door or jump into your lap doesn't really love them. But here's what they're missing. Cats don't show safety the way we expect affection to look. A cat that follows you to the bathroom, sits with their back to you, or sleeps through chaos in your presence isn't being aloof. They're telling you something most humans never learn to hear. They're saying, without a single meow, that you are their safe place. The problem is, we've been trained to read love through excitement. We expect enthusiasm, immediate response, physical closeness that feels like proof. But cats operate on a completely different emotional frequency. They don't perform safety, they live it. And once you understand what you're actually looking at, you'll realize your cat has been showing you trust in ways you've walked past 100 times. They sleep where you are, not necessarily on you. If your cat consistently chooses to sleep in the same room you're in, even if they're across the space on a chair or under a table, that's not indifference, that's trust. Sleep is the most vulnerable state a cat can enter. In the wild, it's when they're most exposed to danger. So when a cat decides to sleep near you, they're making a calculated decision that you are safe enough to let their guard down around. The mistake people make is thinking the cat needs to be on their lap for it to mean something, but proximity is the signal, not touch. A cat that sleeps in your general area is choosing your presence over solitude. They're regulating their nervous system by being near you. That's not emotional distance, that's emotional reliance. They show you their belly without expecting touch. When a cat rolls over and exposes their stomach in your presence, most people immediately reach down to pet it and then they get swatted. So they assume the cat is moody or playing games, but that's not what's happening. The belly exposure isn't an invitation, it's a statement. A cat's abdomen is where all their vital organs sit, completely unprotected. Showing it to you means they feel safe enough to be physically vulnerable in your space. They're not asking you to touch them. They're showing you they don't feel the need to defend themselves. That's trust in its purest form. The fact that they don't want the belly touched doesn't cancel out the trust. It just means trust and access are two different things. They bring you their chaos. If your cat zooms past you at full speed in the middle of the night, knocks things off counters while you're home, or starts playing aggressively near you, that's not bad behavior, that's regulated behavior. Cats only release energy freely when they feel safe. A stressed or uncertain cat stays tense, controlled, hyper-aware. A cat that acts wild in your presence has done the internal math and decided your space is safe enough to stop monitoring threats. People think calm behavior equals trust, but in cats it's often the opposite. Explosive play, sudden sprints, even knocking your water glass off the table, these are signs of a nervous system that isn't stuck in survival mode. Your cat isn't ignoring you during these moments. They're including you in their safest emotional state. They don't run when things go wrong. Watch what your cat does when something startles them. If they freeze, assess, but don't immediately flee the room you're in, that's significant. A cat that stays near you during stress is using you as an anchor point. They're checking their environment against your reaction. If you're calm, they recalibrate faster. This is one of the most overlooked signs of deep trust. A cat that sees you as their safe place doesn't just stay near you during quiet moments. They stay near you when things feel uncertain. That's not dependence, that's emotional regulation. You've become part of their threat assessment system, and your presence lowers their baseline anxiety. They sit with their back to you. This confuses people more than almost anything else. You're sitting on the couch and your cat jumps up, turns around, and sits facing away from you. It feels like rejection, but it's the opposite. A cat that sits with their back to you is saying they don't need to watch you. They trust you enough to monitor the rest of the environment while you cover their blind spot. In a multi-cat household or in the wild, cats position themselves strategically. The one facing out is the one who feels secure enough to not watch their back. When your cat does this with you, they're treating you like a trusted partner. They're not ignoring you. They're trusting you to be their safety while they stay alert to everything else. They match your routine to yours. If your cat starts showing up in the kitchen when you make coffee, sits near the bathroom door while you shower, or appears in the bedroom around the time you usually go to sleep, they're not being clingy, they're synchronizing. Cats are territorial, but they're also deeply rhythmic. When they adjust their internal clock to match yours, they're building their sense of safety around your presence. This isn't about neediness, it's about predictability. Cats feel safest when they can anticipate what happens next. If you are predictable part of their environment, they orient themselves around you. That's not dependence, that's integration. You've become a load-bearing part of their emotional structure. They groom themselves near you. A cat that grooms in your presence isn't just cleaning themselves. Grooming is a self-soothing behavior that cats only do when they're not in danger. If your cat sits near you and starts licking their paws or washing their face, they're in a rest and digest state. Their nervous system has decided you're safe enough to perform maintenance. People dismiss this because it seems so ordinary, but ordinarity is the point. A cat that can be boring near you has let go of hypervigilance. They're not performing for you or trying to get something from you. They're just existing in your space without tension. That's trust without theater.
They make eye contact and slow blink. This one is more commonly known, but it's worth reinforcing. When a cat looks directly at you and slowly closes their eyes, they're not being sleepy, they're communicating. In cat language, prolonged eye contact is a threat. Closing your eyes in front of another creature is vulnerability. Doing both, looking at you, then closing your eyes slowly, is a deliberate signal that they feel safe. If you slow blink back, you're speaking their language. You're saying, "I'm not a threat either." This is one of the few ways cats and humans can have a clear, mutual exchange of trust. It's not dramatic, it's quiet. And that's exactly why it matters. They don't hide when strangers come over. A cat that doesn't bolt the second someone new enters the house isn't necessarily social. They might still not approach the visitor, but the fact that they stay visible, even if they're just sitting on a high shelf watching, means they're using you as their secure base. They're uncertain about the new person, but they're not uncertain about you. This is attachment theory in action. A securely attached cat will explore or tolerate new situations because they know they have a safe point to return to. That safe point is you. If your cat doesn't vanish completely when your environment changes, it's because your presence is a stronger anchor than their fear. They touch you on their terms. A cat that occasionally reaches out a paw to tap your hand, leans their head gently against your leg, or sits just close enough that your bodies barely touch, isn't being distant, they're being precise. Cats are highly tactile, but they're also highly selective. When they initiate contact, even in small ways, they're choosing connection. The key is that it's on their terms. That doesn't make it less meaningful, it makes it more intentional. A cat that touches you when they want to is showing regulated affection. They're not performing, they're not reacting, they're choosing, and that choice is the clearest evidence of trust. Your cat has been telling you that you're their safe place all along, not through grand gestures or constant affection, but through the small, steady ways they let their guard down in your presence. They sleep near you. They stay when things get loud. They groom, play, and simply exist without fear. That's not emotional distance. That's emotional safety. And it's one of the most honest forms of love a cat can give. If this helped you see your cat differently, go ahead and like this video. Subscribe if you want more insights into how cats actually communicate. And drop a comment telling me one way your cat shows you they feel safe. I'd love to hear what you've noticed. Thanks for watching.